Hey guys, welcome back. It's Dodderin. I wanted to get started on a new single player Let's Play series, but I needed an angle. I needed an idea to get the whole series started, something that might make this interesting. And I was actually sitting there thinking about playing Minecraft the very first time for me. I've been playing this game for a very long time. And I had come across a bunch of videos from a couple of different YouTubers that talked about things like block textures that had changed over time, or sounds that had changed over time, or when certain mobs first entered the game, or what features were in the game or not in the game. And that got me thinking back to the very beginning and some of the very first YouTubers I had ever watched. I remember the very first guy I watched was X, his X's Minecraft Adventures. And then I had come across another guy a little later, Co-Star. He had this Co's Quest series. It was just amazing. But again, amazing for back then because they were new. They were using the very earliest versions of this game. Versions that did not have the end or the dragon or the nether. Versions that didn't have some of the mobs. That didn't have even things like beds to sleep in to get rid of the night or to reset your spawn. And even things like the way the inventory worked or certain limitations you had made for a completely different game experience. And I thought, I don't want to go down memory lane and say, oh yeah, this is what it used to be like, this is what it used to be like. And I had noticed a while back, how we could play some of the old versions of Minecraft. And I thought, that would be cool to have somebody in, what is it, Minecraft 1.11 nowadays, going back and actually playing the very first versions of the game. So I came up with this idea that what we'll do is we'll have a Let's Play series that'll actually start on the first version that I had ever played. And then every couple of episodes, and I'm thinking about it, nowadays an episode is 30 minutes. So if I did, let's say, 5 episodes or 6 episodes, that'd be 3 hours of gameplay. If I did 10 episodes, that'd be 5 hours of gameplay. Maybe that would be a good one. Every 10 episodes, I would switch up to the next version. So we would have a neat chance to see, how do you play the old versions? What changed? What limitations did you have? How is the game different to play? And then because we know what the current game is like, it'll give me a chance then to talk about, oh my God, look at how different this looked. Or, oh my God, I forgot that I can't do this. So I thought, you know what, that might be really cool. So this little intro video is just my way of saying, this is what we're going to do to get started. So here's what I have. I'm on this Minecraft wiki. They changed this when I hit enter, but I had just gone to minecraftwiki.net, hit the enter key, and it turned into this website, which is part of this, where is it? Curse, I think it is. Somewhere in here, it's Curse. So what I want to do is I want to come up to the search box, and I'm actually just going to type version history. And we're going to go to this page. And like I said, it comes up right here to the Frostburn update, the 1.10. Doesn't list 1.11 because we're still in snapshots as of this videoing. But I am going to scroll way down to beta, and I'm going to go even farther to alpha, and I'm going to come all the way back to this alpha 1.1. I'm a school teacher, so I have lots of kids that I teach. A lot of kids are interested in this game. And I had this kiddo, his name was Nicholas. He came up to me one day, I think he was in 5th or 6th grade at the time. He had come up to me and he said, Mr. Weeks, you've got to try this game. You've got to try this Minecraft game. And, I was trying to be nice and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, sure. Okay, I'll give it a shot. And, sure, that following weekend I had gone home and I loaded it up and I was playing around with it a little bit. And, first thing I notice is what a lot of people notice. I'm like, oh my God, this is like blocky. The graphics are kind of crap. Um, the sound is kind of weird. It just seemed, clunky. And I'm like, oh yeah, all right, it's a cute game for kids. And at the end of a day or two, I just said, yeah, that's it. So I stopped playing. And a couple more weeks had gone down, and he came up to me again, and he's like, so, what did you think of the game? Isn't it really cool? And I'm like, yeah, yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, it seems like an all right game. And he goes, no, really, have you really played it? You got to play it. You got to play it longer. So he really was pushing me, and I was like, yeah, okay, well, all right, maybe I didn't give it a good look. So I'd gone home again, and I think we had like a winter break or something like that. So I had a nice chunk of time where I was off. So I dove in again, and I think what happened was the first time I tried it, I had found my way into creative mode, which was, what it is, right? Free form build mode. You don't have to worry about any kind of restraints or anything. Um, and in an effect, it was sort of like building with Legos. So I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. But he's like, no, you got to try this survival mode. So then I discovered this survival mode. And I was like, oh, you can starve, or you can be fought by these bad guys and die and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, this adds a little bit of a challenge to the game. So I started to create a base, and I was like, oh my God. And I think I was playing solid for a week, and it was some of the most fun I had ever had playing a game. So I had gone through this history trying to find out where I had started to play this game. I knew the end didn't exist when I was first playing. I knew the nether didn't exist. I knew beds didn't exist. Um, the latest thing I could remember was this weird oddity of leaves not being able to despawn. You'd cut a tree down, and if you didn't get rid of the leaves yourself, they just stayed there like a trunkless tree just hanging there in open space. It was really a strange look. Um, and I remember this Halloween update. This is when the Nether was first introduced. I do remember playing the game before that because I can remember all the hype leading up to what this Halloween episode was going to be like, or this version was going to be like. And I also remember these weird Secret Friday updates, but they were a fairly new thing to me. You can see down here that they actually started back here in this InfDev. This was infinite development. And you can actually see here it says at this point Notch, the guy who originally wrote the game, uh, rewrote code to make the worlds you were playing in infinite. You could walk forever. If you come down a little farther, you see in dev, so in development. This was worlds that were very small, very what do you call it? Had a very finite size. They weren't infinite. So this was way before my time. This was around my time, but as I was looking through the descriptions and some of the stuff, that wasn't it. So I had found my way to this Alpha 1.0, and it said, I added wood and cobblestone stairs. But here, remove the infinite lava source block. Kind of like we can get infinite water sources. You could do something similar with lava. I never remembered that. So I wasn't sure if that might have been the version either. So as I was doing my looking around, it had come up to the fact that I was actually in the Alpha 1.1 version. This one right here, the Secret Friday number 9. And it turns out at September 10th, 2010. So it was like 6 years ago, right around the start of a new school year. So it was this Alpha 110, and I can remember compass added. I can remember playing with this compass. Remember, beds did not exist back then. which meant if you ventured out to do a little exploring and you went off a couple hundred blocks to find just the perfect place to build and set up a really nice base and you were all proud of it, and then you got killed. You went back to the very initial place you spawned, hundreds of blocks away from where you were built. Every time you died, you went all the way back to that place and then had to hike your way all the way back to where you were. And I can remember saying to myself, oh my God, thank God we have this compass, because the compass allowed you to find your way back to spawn. So as you're out and around, it didn't take too long for me to figure out I'm going to have to spawn a world that has a great looking area right at the start so that I could build in that area and I wouldn't be too far away from spawn in case I ever died. And so when I started playing that way, I could venture out and look for resources and explore and all this stuff. And if I ever died, I could have that compass to help figure out how to get back, after I figured out where I died and picked up all my stuff. So here's the deal. I want to start playing a brand new Let's Play series, a brand new world, but it's going to be based at the start on an alpha 1.1.0 version of the world. And I'll show you, how we can set this all up and stuff as we get started. And then, like I said, I'm thinking maybe every 10 episodes, which at 30 minutes an episode would be 5 hours of playtime, we would update to, not specifically the next version, but the next version that had some good stuff in it. So if I look at this 1.1.1, what does it say? Additions, sneaking was added, new paintings, the ability to change your mouse sensitivity, sliders to change your sound. See, this is a pretty big one. Fishing rods. This is a pretty big one. So I think after that, we would go to that version. But then you see up here where it says 1.1.2, but then you have this 1.1.2.0.1. Up here you got a 0.1 and a 0.2. These were really just bug fix updates. So I would skip these. So, it would just be 1.1.0 to 1.1.1 to 1.1.2 to 1.2 to 1.2.1 to 1.2.2. And we'll do it that way. And as we go, we'll work our way through the betas and into the release versions, working our way back up to maybe 1.11, 1.12 whenever we get there, and see what's going on. All right? Now, we will have to take it easy. We'll have to make sure that we back it up because, again, these were alpha and beta versions. They had lots of weird bugs in them. And I don't want to take a chance of losing our world, especially when we go from one version to another in case there was some kind of an incompatibility. So we'll take care of that, too. But then the last thing I wanted to talk about in this intro was the fact that I wanted to come up with a way to figure out a style for putting these videos together. And this is where I had referred to Co's Quest and X's Minecraft Adventures, where the style that they videoed was a lot different than today. They were the same intros and outros. They had overlay of the intro into the actual episode. There wasn't an intro, an auditory intro, hey guys, this is Dada and welcome back. None of that. It was just continuation of where you had left off from the prior episode. And even at the end of the episode, there was some music playing at the end of the episode, the credits, etc., whatever. But it wasn't like, okay, so next time we'll do blah, blah. It was just, continuation. And I thought, what, that was really cool too. Again, remember also back then, YouTube changed. So back then, YouTube had a thing where your episodes could only be 15 minutes in length. And as I'm looking at my recorder now, it's 14 and a half minutes right now. So I'd be coming to the end of the episode right here. So that was another reason that they didn't want to waste a lot of time with the intros and the outros and what we were going to do or what we're going to do next time. They just wanted you to see the play. And I kind of like that idea too. So I think we'll play that way as well. And if you watch the episodes, that I have in this series, and you had watched some of Co's Quest or X's Minecraft Adventures, you may see me do certain things. Part of this series, I want to be an homage to those initial guys that played this game. Um, YouTube Let's Plays were very new back then. There weren't a lot of them out there. I think Minecraft was one of the very first games to really, get the whole Let's Play idea out there on YouTube. Now you hit YouTube and no matter what the game is, there's a Let's Play for it out there. Um, Back then, that wasn't the case. So it was one of the easiest ways to get help on a game, to learn tips or tricks to the game, etc. Um, and I'm also going to try to use the actual version features at the day while we're playing. So, for instance, one of the things I remember was using a water ladder as a very quick way to go up. Um, so we're going to use those. We're going to use those until they quote fix that bug, and we can no longer use those. There was another trick using ladders that you'll see me use. That again, it was I don't know if it was a bug or just the way that the game was originally written, but it allowed us to do it that way. We'll talk through them when we start playing. So I think that's what we're going to do. All right, so I'm going to move on to how to create a world based on one of these old versions. All right, and then hopefully we'll be ready to get started on an episode. All right, you're not going to see me do this very often, but I'm Dodderin, and this is a brand new Let's Play just to see what we can do as we travel through time. This time we are in the current Minecraft 1.10 launcher, 1661 launcher. Again, this is how you would normally get into a current game. Down here you can see I'm ready to play Minecraft 1.10.2 as Dodderin. But to get ready for this new series, I need to create a new profile that is based on an old version of the game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and I'm going to click this new profile button. And this is going to pop up this screen. And what I'm going to do is actually call it the version that I want to do. So this is going to be based on alpha version 1.1.0. All right. So really the only thing I want to do is I'm going to come down here and I'm going to turn this guy on. Allow use of old alpha Minecraft versions from 2010. And then again, they're being very specific here. These versions are very out of date and may be unstable. Any bugs, crashes, missing features, or other nasties you may find will never be fixed in these versions. It is strongly recommended that you play these in separate directories to avoid corruption. We are not responsible for the damage to your nostalgia or your save files. Are you sure you want to continue? So again, be very careful that you're not going to utilize this profile with one of your current worlds. And I'll tell you what I mean by that in a minute. Okay. Then what we're going to do, we turn this on and we got that warning. So now down here, we have to choose the actual version we want to play. And I'm just going to use the wheel on my mouse to scroll back. And I'm looking here, old alpha version. And I'm going to come down to right here, old alpha A 1.1.0. Now look, they go way back. Okay. I'm not using all these because, again, I didn't play on those, so I'm not familiar with those. So from my research, this guy, this 1.1.0 for me, I believe, I might have played a version or two before this, but I just can't remember. But I believe this is the version that I used. Okay? Everything else on here, I'm just going to leave alone. I think that those settings are perfectly fine for me. I'm going to save this profile. Okay? All right, now if you'll notice, it says I'm in the Dodderin profile. It's signed into the Dodderin account, ready to play 1.10.2. So I made the profile. Now I need to activate it. So I'm going to drop this menu down, and here's this alpha 1.1.0. So I'm going to choose that. And then when I come over to this side, it says I'm logged into the Dodderin account, but I'm ready to play Minecraft alpha 110. Okay? I'm going to hit play in a second. If you go back to play one of your regular worlds, please check right here. Okay? You don't want to be in this alpha 110 and then load in one of your new worlds. Make sure it says 1.10.2 or whatever version you're currently using. All right, that's why you create different profiles. Okay? All right, so I'm going to hit play and we'll see what the next screen looks like. Yeah, look at this. That was funny, that old Mojang screen. And then look at this. Doesn't this look different? This is still here. Interesting. We actually had this information on the screen at the very start. And actually, when we get in there, I believe the version sat right up in the corner, if I remember correctly. So you'll notice that this has changed a little bit. They used to include a tutorial level that was not activated here. If I go into multiplayer, you can see it's not finished. But there are IP addresses for a couple of servers that were up just for testing. So really, even multiplayer didn't exist back then. And if you go into single player, look at this. This is a world I created a second ago just to make sure this was going to work. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all you could have. 5 worlds. All right, I'm going to delete that world that I created because I don't want that world. All right. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to create a world. Did you notice we couldn't give it a name? We couldn't make any kind of changes to the kind of world or anything. And look at this. Blam. We got an error message. That's okay. This happened with me the last time too. If we scroll down here, it says that the comparison method violates its general contract. I believe this means that it's attempting to use today's Java to communicate with the Java used back in 2010, which just wasn't happening. But what I discovered is if I exit this out, okay, we're going to try that again. Hey, did you happen to also notice that screen before? It wasn't just Mojang, it was Mojang specifications. That was interesting, huh? All right, let's see if we can get in here without an error. This time I'm just going to let it generate before I even move. Okay, let's try that. Oh, stopped running. What is it saying? Comparison method violates its general contract. That's the same thing. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to restart the whole computer because I've been playing around for a minute, and I'm going to see if that'll help us play. All right, they say third time's a charm, so let's try it out again. Oh, this one's taking a little longer to load. Did you see that? Simulating the world for a bit. All right, let's try it again. Oh, I'm going slow because I'm scared. Hey, that looks better. That looks better. All right. Well, before we get started, look at the bottom. If I go into, oh, they don't have chat because this is, yeah. No hunger bar, just hearts. Okay. They say the sound is on. If I hit the escape key, look at this saving level down here. We used to see this a lot. But if I come to this options, a lot of these are just binary, really. You know, music, it's on or off, period. Sound, it's on or off, period. Invert mouse, show frames per second. This was a weird one. You'd see all this info at the top. See that? While you were playing. Kind of weird. Render distance, far, normal, short, tiny. Versus the slider that we have nowadays that says how many frames out do you want to see, or how many chunks out do you want to see. Okay, I'm going to go far because it's a beefy computer. View bobbing, remember that up and down as you walk, that's been in here from way back when. Limit frame rate, again, just binary. Okay, 3D difficulty, I'm going to play on hard. Notice that it's all the same difficulties way back when. Graphics, fancy and fast. Those were your only choices, fancy and fast. Okay, I like the fancy, so I'm going to keep it here. Under controls, look at this. One screen, period. Now, oh, it says chat was T, so you can chat in here. So I'm going to hit back to game. And yeah, I'm pressing T and it's not. So maybe because it's not a multiplayer world. Remember when we create in the new versions, you can say turn on cheats, and the cheats would allow you to get into the chat bar because that's where you type all the commands. Okay. All right, so I don't want to go too far. This is just the intro. So this is the world that we have to look at from the start. There's our very first mob, a cow over there. So when we get started with the very first version, this will be the world that we're going to be in. Now remember, we spawned right here on this little peninsula. It's kind of jerky in this version. So if we ever die, we're going to come back to this area. So I'll have to remember that, okay? And I'll show you a trick to what we used to do back then in that regard. All right? Okay, so I'm going to exit out of this version, escape out, and again, save and quit the title is up here now instead of down here. And that's going to get us out of the game, hopefully without an error. And we should be good to go. I got a Java update. This computer's got Windows 10 on it, and it's kind of annoying. So not bad at all. All right, so it looks like we're gonna get started in a 1.1.0 alpha world. All right. Again, I'm going to sign out my old way, and then starting with the first episode, it's going to be the new way. So for a long time, this is Dodderin. You won't be hearing me say that for a while. Hope you have a great day. I hope you will tune into this new series and see what it's all about. And I think we could have a lot of fun. All right, so until next time, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.